one of the reasons that I contacted you was because you're human, and it's we're not in a court, and I don't like fighting and all that. And if you've got some ideas or somehow can help enlighten us all on how we do everything in the most humane way to be able to restart life, that would be helpful. This is Michael.
Hey Michael, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good, good. Tell me the situation.
His job ended this time, pre-COVID, and then we ended up with the mandates through the state where it was no rent, no evictions. He at that time was able to collect on unemployment, and so that helped pay for rent for a while. This is my only income. Michael's benefit for unemployment ran out a long time ago. He was able to borrow money or be gifted money from a couple different sources for a while, but has not had another full-time job, a part-time job for a brief period of time, but it didn't pay any of the rent. So Michael says 2 years behind. I'm calling it 20 months. On rent, he still doesn't have employment. We got him registered with Interfaith. Interfaith says that they have no funding or they've run out. Michael says he's got no place to go. I have served legal notice, and of course he's got no place to go.
Okay.
And no job. So I'm kind of at my wit's end because I can't move forward. This is not a good situation.
Right. Michael, do you have anything to add to her breakdown?
Didn't lose the company. Didn't close down pre-COVID. They closed down with COVID.
Okay.
I was the operations manager for a small children's retailtainment company. So I ran all the operations for the company.
Okay.
And the 3 stores. It shut down in March of 2020, which is just when COVID hit. And I went through what savings I had, which was about $12,000. And then I was, like Alex said, I was borrowing money from family and some friends who were able to help me. Those things dried up 2 years ago, and Alex has let me stay here without being able to pay rent. What monies I have taken in the 2 years has gone to either rent when Alex was accepting partial rent payments, or I helped with the household with dog food and other expenses that were not rent. I did try to pay what I could. I'm not just sitting here eating bonbons. And I have been actively looking for work for at least 3 years now. That's where we're at.
Okay. I'm going to ask some questions, and regardless if I'm working with squatters or I work with, homeless, or, I try to be as humane as I can, as you know, and that's why you contacted me. You might not want to hear what I have to say, okay? But, I'm going to just speak from, experience and from the heart as best as I can, okay? What type of jobs, what are you looking for? Have you expanded your realm to basically anything and everything?
I've been looking for something that would enable me to pay the rent.
Yeah.
My skill set is in retail management.
Okay.
That's what I've been looking to get back into.
Right.
I submit applications. I don't hear anything, either yes or no. I've had multiple interviews where I go into the recruiter, I talk to the recruiter, I get moved on to the hiring manager, and they ghost me. I don't hear anything after that. I had one interview where the gentleman left it saying, "Michael, if this sounds great." I never heard from him again. I followed up with phone calls or emails, and they don't respond. I revamped my resume about many times over the last few years. I know I've done at least 3 times within the last year. I'm now actively using AI to try and get past the ATS systems to get, at least human eyes on me.
Yeah.
I'm working with Interfaith Services down here in Escondido, and it's only been a month so far. So in terms of help,
yeah.
They told me to use the AI, and I'm already doing that. I'm using ChatGPT.
Right.
Running my resume and the job descriptions through the AI,
right.
And then taking the recommendations and tweaking my resume so it has all the keywords and things like that it needs to get recognized.
Yeah.
Part of my concern is I now have a 4-year gap in my resume.
Yeah.
I'm older. I'm 59. I've never had this kind of problem getting a job.
Yeah.
Alex has been extremely generous to her own detriment so that I am not homeless, and I appreciate that. And it bothers me a lot that I have put her in this situation. I can't contribute the rent.
Right.
With Interfaith, I talked to them about shelters because there's nothing else for me but the shelter or the street at this point.
Right.
There's a waiting list for the shelters. I've started the process to get into the waiting list for the shelters so I can get out.
Okay.
And Alex can move on to do what she needs to do.
A few things come to mind. The very first thing you need to look at is why you're not getting accepted for these jobs. But the other thing is, I've often thought about, I opened my first business when I was 16 years old. But I've had a lot of things that I have tried that didn't work. And, and the one thing that I learned is that I can't continue to do the same thing and expect different results. Okay?
I realize that.
I was in the service industry for many years, and I thought, if this dries up, what would I do? And, I would have to be willing to do absolutely anything and everything, okay? Because I had kids. So it wouldn't matter if I was cleaning car windows at a gas station. I would have to do something. I would have to, go do anything. So first of all, I think you need to expand your search because, and it might not be the where you want to be, but it would be a start. And I'm not saying if you take a different job, for example, I'm not saying that has to be a forever job, but you need to do something while you're looking for other jobs. So if you, I would say continue to put out your resume and look for those jobs that you ideally feel that you have a fit for. But there are other jobs out there right now that you can get that is just to get some money coming in. And, you might start out with a little less, but anything that you can contribute is going to help out, it sounds like. And getting your foot in the door somewhere and continue to look for your forever job, the job that you really want to do. First thing I would suggest is you expand it and go and get a job at Home Depot. Get a job at Lowe's. Get a job packing shelves. Get a job because, try to see if you can get a job at Costco. They have great benefits. Expanding your thing. You have been in management, but the bottom line is you are older and it's going to be very difficult. And staying in Escondido might not be what's right for you because you're limiting yourself to a box. It's like somebody, online dating thinking that their forever person is going to be in their backyard. So you may want to look outside of Escondido.
I'm looking in San Diego County. But I've also expanded the search outside of San Diego. I'm on EBT.
Okay.
All right. There is a income threshold. If I make $1,586 a month, I don't get those benefits.
Okay.
That's how I eat.
And that's how you're thinking, and that's holding you back.
Well, I mean, if I'm making something, if I'm making minimum wage, how do I pay to stay here and feed myself?
It's a start. It's a start. It's going to close the gap on your resume. It's going to, if you had taken a job 3 years ago at a car wash, you wouldn't have a gap in your resume and you wouldn't be having these troubles. You can't start thinking, you know, that's the problem with a lot of people that are getting services. They're so, it's like there's that threshold and that's a security blanket for them. So you have to be willing to take a chance and do anything and everything just to get started. You know, you're going to make that amount of money at a job, and it's going to close up the gap, and it's going to help your resume, and it's possibly going to help you get another job. And like I said, you're not taking a job. You might love the job, but you're not looking at, right now, you're not looking for the job that's going to be the job that you're going to be at for a long time, because clearly that's not working right now.
Now, I have applied in the past to those other places, Home Depot, Lowe's, non-management jobs, entry level, to get work. I'm not hearing anything. I never heard anything from those either.
Oh,
I mean,
hit the pavement. Hit the pavement. Go to Jack in the Box. Go to McDonald's. I mean,
I have.
Okay, well, if you feel that you have been doing everything you need to do, then you need to look in a different area. Obviously, there's only so much she can do for you, but you have to start looking outside the box and look at, trying something that you haven't done and being more persistent at maybe some of the things that you have done.
Okay.
You can make up a flyer and put it around Escondido and do odd jobs and make, $50 an hour. So, those are things that, people would be happy to pay for somebody to come and, clean up their yard or organize their garage. And that takes a matter of getting on a computer and typing up a thing and making some flyers and putting some flyers around your neighborhood, and that's cash, and it wouldn't even affect your other stuff. I think that might be a way to do it. As long as you're physically able, then, you don't have to have a bunch of tools to do yard cleanup or to do organize someone's garage, or, you don't need, you can also, if you don't have a way to haul stuff to a dump, for example, you hire a person to do it, and then you make a 10% up charge on their fees. So that you're coordinating it, you're managing it, and you get paid to just manage that other person taking stuff to the dump. So, I'm just saying you can't, you're in quicksand right now, man. You can't keep doing what you're doing. So, I mean, that's the best advice I can give you personally, is to just start doing something different and start opening and broadening your search. And again, don't think of it as, you can't think of the future and use the past as an example, because right now you've been so far removed from the past that you need to create your new future. Hopefully you're able to take something I said and motivate you to get out there and do it.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts and your advice. Yes, give me some things to think about. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. hopefully he can get his stuff together. There's a lot of things that are outside of what he's used to, but he may have to learn something new. And I think a big thing would be to take a job anywhere just to get something, just to close that gap on the resume, and to where, you're going to these employers and they're not wondering why you haven't been working, because they'll look at and they'll understand that you may have lost your job during COVID, but they don't understand why there's a gap, because they want somebody, a go-getter, somebody that is going to take a job no matter what to get through a bad time. So, I know that if I'm looking at a resume as an employer, I'm wondering, well, what happened? Because even though you're not sitting at home eating bonbons, they don't know that. And I'm not saying give up on the other goals. Continue with those. Just, rewrite the resume, do something different so you're not repeating the same mistakes. That's what we have right now, unfortunately. I think anything moving in a positive direction will get the wheel rolling. It'll get the creative juices flowing, and good things can come from there. Definitely, keep me posted, and I really hope that some changes can be made to help in a positive way. But you also have to understand, you can't lose everything you have to help somebody else. I do so much for so many people, but I had to learn a long time ago that if I don't take care of myself, I'm no good to anybody. So, I know you don't want to put him out on the street, but there has to be effort. You have to see effort from him and changes being made. And if he's continuing to do the same thing, at some point you're going to have to harden.
I'm there. This is my last, ditch effort to. It's all I've got left to try to offer support.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've actually got, contact with an attorney that's waiting for paperwork to pull the plug. So,
yeah.
And it's going to get ugly.
When that time comes, we can discuss our options without an attorney and a quicker process.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I put the attorney on hold because I wanted to give him an opportunity, and thank you for, I know it's a little different, but because we have known each other this long, I really, I'm at wit's end. This is not going to work like this any longer, and that's why I had asked, would you be willing to? Because I think that he might benefit from hearing from somebody other than me telling him this, this is coming to an end. Like it or not, this can go no more.
I have a cousin that he calls it, he went off the grid. He couldn't afford rent. He ended up buying he gets services similar. He ended up buying a tent, and he's living in a campground because it's a lot less expensive than paying rent. You've got all the facilities, and but that might be an option. And at some point, Michael, at some point, you're gonna have to also understand that you're gonna have to leave. I just I wish you well. I'm afraid that if nothing changes, that it's gonna get to a point where everybody's gonna lose. And I really hope and pray that it doesn't get to that point, but at some point you just have to be like, look, I'm gonna pack a bag, take my $1,800 or whatever it is. But at some point, if things don't change, the most humane thing to do would be to make your own sacrifice to allow her to move on. So, but I wish you guys well, and keep me posted, okay?
Okay, thank you, Flash. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Flash.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Good luck, Michael. All right, man. All right. Peace. Be safe. Bye.